The rig deck vibrates with a rhythmic, metallic groan. High-pressure steam is already venting from the secondary lines. But industrial disasters don't actually start with an explosion. They are built, piece by piece, over months of quiet compromises. No crew shows up to a site wanting a blowout or a fatality. However, when operational schedules get tight and the pressure to produce mounts, the daily standard for what is considered acceptable begins to erode. Safety engineers visualize these defenses using the Swiss cheese model. Each of these stacked barriers, from worker training to mechanical valves, is a layer of protection designed to keep a high-pressure hazard from reaching the people on site. In a healthy system, the barriers are solid, but every cut corner burns a hole through a layer. Disaster only strikes in that rare, mathematically grim moment when these holes align, allowing a hazard to shoot straight through every defense. To understand how a routine afternoon turns into a recovery mission, we have to rewind the clock. We need to track the 10 invisible compromises that allowed this breach to happen. Corner cut number 1. A worker skips their tie-off to save 10 minutes on a scaffold. This violates the Focus 4 standards, the leading causes of construction fatalities: falls, electrocution, struck by, and caught-in hazards. The OSHA 510 standard prescribes a clear control here: mandatory visual harness checks by a supervisor before anyone leaves the ground. Corner cut 2. A crew removes a metal safety guard on a heavy winch to get easier access for maintenance. Under OSHA 2045, this creates an immediate entanglement hazard. The control is a strict lockout-tagout protocol. The machine must be physically de-energized and locked until the guard is replaced. Corner cut 3. A foreman without 30-hour outreach training takes over supervision. This course is specifically designed for supervisors to recognize how minor risks compound. Without it, the foreman pushes the crew into high-hazard tasks without recognizing the cumulative danger. Corner cut 4. On the left, toxic gas accumulates in an unventilated hull. Relying on smell to judge the air leads to asphyxiation. On the right is the OSHA 7300 requirement: mandatory testing with calibrated instruments and an entry permit. You've seen 4 corners cut, but the most expensive one is still coming. When leadership routinely allows these foundational pillars to be bypassed, the culture shifts. Extreme risk becomes normalized, making it a certainty that more complex failures will go unreported as the project accelerates. Corner cut 5. A pressure test spikes into the red zone. To stay on schedule, the data is manually forced into the green zone. The control is a dual sign-off digital log, using a cryptographic lock so readings cannot be altered without an auditable trail. Corner cut 6. Management delays housekeeping, letting combustible dust build up on ventilation gratings. OSHA 7120 identifies this as a primary fire hazard. To control this, sites must implement end-of-shift photo verification to ensure gratings remain clear. Corner cut 7. To speed up transfers, machinery operators begin bypassing spotters and loading zones. This violates struck-by protocols. The fix is installing high-visibility physical barricades that separate heavy machines from the workers on the ground. Corner cut 8. As the deadline nears, the master timeline is compressed. Required safety buffers are removed to make room for 24-hour operations. Fatigue now becomes a threat multiplier, degrading the crew's ability to react to the warnings they have left. As the schedule tightens, skipping these protocols moves from an occasional oversight to a systemic habit. The operation enters a state of high fragility, where the safety of the entire crew depends on nothing going wrong. Corner cut 9. In the rush, a worker enters a toxic zone without their specialized respiratory PPE. When the atmosphere shifts, they have zero protection. At this very moment, only stop work authority, the right of any worker to halt an unsafe task, could prevent the casualty. Corner cut 10. The blowout preventer is the last failsafe, using shear rams to seal the well. But upward pressure from the 9 previous failures forces the rams apart. Without weekly testing to verify strength, the pressure simply shatters the mechanical housing. Mechanical failsafes are built to handle singular errors. When an organization systematically erodes the first 9 human and procedural barriers, a final mechanical collapse becomes inevitable. Hours after the breach, the second responders arrive. These are specialized OSHA 5600 disaster site workers, trained specifically to navigate the unstable debris and toxic environments left behind by a total system failure. These specialists, trained in the National Response Framework and Incident Command, enter the site to manage the consequences of the barrier erosion we've tracked. They are the final layer of response that only activates once the preventative barriers have failed. Preventing the next incident requires a return to the basics. Train your supervisors, test your atmospheres, guard your machines, and respect the Focus 4 hazards. Safety is not found in a regulatory binder or a 10-hour orientation. It is the active, daily decision to maintain the barriers that protect human lives. If you want to learn more about workplace safety and OSHA rules, subscribe to HSE Study.